I'm good.
Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.
It is Thanksgiving tomorrow. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Ethan?
I will be spending it with some loved ones, which is rare. Usually I open up my house to all kinds of crazy traffic.
We're doing the same thing.
But I'll be taking that day to spend at my mother's place with, some extended family. It should be good. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, yeah. The funny thing, yesterday I was talking to somebody and they said, well, you don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. I said, well, no, Thanksgiving is not that. That's July 4th we might not.
What we should do is go to whatever Native American reservations that aren't too far away and give them a bunch of stuff to survive with. We should reverse the tables on the tradition because now they need it, quite frankly.
Well, yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. It was the offering of gifts, wasn't it? It was the exchange of gifts. I mean, I wonder how many people out there actually know what Thanksgiving is actually all about.
I wonder, too. I'm not sure if it's in some historical record that the reason we celebrate it or the theories we base it on are actually true. I mean, I'm sure there was an exchange of aid between the natives and the colonialists, I guess. But
does anybody out there have that answer?
I mean,
let's see the Twitters get going on this morning. So how was your week, by the way? I've been a very busy week. How was your week?
Probably as busy or a little bit more.
You've got your event coming up December 9th, don't you? December 9th? 4th?
Yeah, it's December 5th, but we're doing 2 live broadcast toy drives with Disney Imagineer Bob Gurr, yourself, I hope, writer-producer Joel Madison from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Roseanne, Saturday and Sunday at Westfield Mall in Valencia to try to get some kids. Presents for the kids. We'll have some stormtroopers out there. So I'm actually prepping 2 broadcasts before the live show and event on the 5th, which brings a little of
craziness a little bit up.
Yeah. But luckily, everyone like yourself, they're all radio veterans. It's a lot more casual and easy to do when people kind of have grasped it, They
figure out what they're supposed to say. Because I know that when we have some guests coming into the show, they want to know what questions they're going to be asked and certain things.
I don't do that. I don't know what questions we're going to ask.
I mean, it's very, this is very informal here. Yeah, so, yesterday I was at an event at Plaza de Mexico, which was the community giveaway by Kimberly Moore's Foundation.
Oh, excellent. How was it?
It was great little turnout. It was a young singer called Cheo, who's a Latin sensation, down there in, and he had a lot of screaming young girls there, and we gave away 3 Surface tablets yesterday to the winners of that to actually start our drive for our 100 tablet giveaway, actually 90 tablet giveaway for the LA School District, and we're actually going to be running giving away 4 more tablets on Peace Fund Radio during the month of December. So you're going to have to listen to that to actually find out which one is actually going to be.
What a brilliant gift that is, actually.
Well, it's coming up at Christmas time, know, and but the thing is, we'll be announcing next week how you can actually participate in this drive, and listeners can get a chance at winning a Microsoft Surface.
Yeah, very nice present.
Which I think will be a fun little present just before Christmas.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then in January we have our drive that we're going to be looking to give away 90 of those and create an educational program for the tablets in LA schools. We are just working on that as we speak.
It's the Legion of Doom in terms of, master plans for January and February around here.
That's it, yeah. I mean, because master plans are the problem, should I say, really, because hopefully plans are the things that sometimes work and sometimes don't.
Right, they work.
Do you ever have that? Like, your events. When you have your events, are they always that smooth running, or do they, sometimes?
Almost never. There's a lot of moving parts to the events we do. There's a celebrity element. There's usually some sort of character or cast member element. There's always some entertainment element. There's usually a live broadcast element, and you're working primarily based on, partners and volunteers that have become like the family that have been charged with delivering, for example, Christmas on the 5th. So they work very hard, but, sometimes it's always a great time and it's always a good thing to do, but it doesn't always have it doesn't always have sort of the I guess the rhythm of the operation that you would like it to have. But that's the nature of live radio, live webcasts, things of that nature.
Right. I mean, I kind of find that. I mean, we've actually had, we've done a few events now, and it's always very interesting to see, what goes down. I didn't really realize quite how much you actually put into an event when you actually produce it.
It's crazy, and it's things some people cannot even fathom. I'm feeling like maybe we should go to some Christmas music.
Yes, I think let's do some Christmas music. I think that'd be a good idea because Thanksgiving is the run up to Christmas, and I think we're talking about our Children in Need segment, which is the problem with bullying. But before that, I think we need a little bit of uplifting cheer, don't you think?
What better way to bring the cheer than to play a track off of last year's Combat Radio Christmas album for social services, which you can get at cdbaby/Combat Radio Christmas. So let's rock out.
Let's listen.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to laugh and sing a sleighing song tonight. Ooh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Ooh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Ooh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, they're making spirits bright. What fun it is to laugh and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Am I on the air? Oh,
That's what it means
you
when
see,
it says
that's
we're
what
coming back. And I signal you, and I signal you repeatedly.
This is what you get with live radio, you know? I mean, it's like...
You were asking me earlier about when we do big events or any kind of Warner Brothers related or broadcast related stuff, and it turns into chaos. That's part of it. Because you can signal somebody, and he's like looking off into space.
Or asking somebody how to pronounce their name.
Now, for those of you who didn't know whose voice that was, that's Keahu Kahuanui. I said it, Kahuanui.
And it's with an H. It's a Keahu.
Keahu. Are you Hawaiian?
I am.
Hawaiian. Team Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were on. Actually, do you know what? I was actually on I think it was your set. Did you shoot out in the middle of Northridge? Not Northridge. Out in the valley. I think it's.
Yeah, we shot.
Did you have studios out there? I think that was.
I
think it was Team Wolf I went up to.
Possibly.
I shot last year on a set that was shut down for, I think, about 2-3 months or whatever. They shot another film on it, and I think it was. I can't remember if it was Team Wolf one.
Would you shoot Scream?
No, I shot the Secrets of Emily Blair.
Huh.
No, it might be a different production because there's so many productions in it. I couldn't remember which one I was actually.
There's those yellow signs posted all over the place, and I'm like, oh, what's that? Why am I not working on that show?
Yeah, why am I not working on that show? What are you working on right now? I mean, I know you just. I mean, thank you for coming in this morning because it was such short notice.
Yeah.
Colin Pelton, who's a mutual friend of ours and actually is working with us, has worked on the Peace Fund before as our social media advisor and actually guru as well, alongside Nancy McLennan, who's our other social media. But you know Colin, and so it was short notice. So
yeah, no. I mean, I'm glad I was able to make it in. I mean, with the holidays coming up and just Thanksgiving prep. It's
it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, trying to get everything squared away while places are still open. But I can already tell that LA is sort of thinned out a little bit. Yeah,
I've noticed this morning. I came in, took my kid to school this morning, and it just was free. I was like, wow, no traffic.
Wow, this is
awesome.
This is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what freeways are supposed to give you. It's supposed to give you the ability to go up and down the street. You also worked with Russell Mulcahy, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you work with him on?
On Teen Wolf.
On Teen Wolf. He did Teen Wolf, did he? Russell and I have never actually met, but we've literally, crossed paths so many times because obviously he did the first Highlander.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. One day we'll probably meet and we'll say, "Who are you?"
I hear he has the original Highlander sword still.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Probably up in a little glass case in his.
It's like buried somewhere.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got that somewhere.
I want to actually bring a couple of things out right today. I want to share a story of a teen. We're actually, since it's Thanksgiving, I want to show a little story of a teen in San Antonio who decided to use her sweet 16 birthday party to help others this Thanksgiving. When Amira Guidry put, and now hopefully I got that name right because I'm lousy at names at this morning, put together her wish list for gifts on her 16th birthday. It didn't include any electronics or clothing. On the invitation to her Sweet 16 party, she asked for canned goods and non-perishable food items. More than 70 people came to celebrate her birthday on Sunday, and they brought cases of food, which were delivered to the San Antonio Food Bank. In all, Amira collected 395 pounds of food, enough to feed more than 100 people, and give Amira the happiest of birthdays. Amira, happy birthday, and that's a great gesture.
That's amazing.
I mean, I love this, and you'll hear later on this morning, we actually have, our intrepid Peace Fund hero bringer is John Beerley.
Hero bringer.
Hero bringers.
Sounds like a George W. Bush line right there.
Yeah, he does.
I really like that title.
Bringer of the heroes.
This is John in the background there. Listen to it. So, listen, we're going to be talking about bullying, and I know you actually, Keahu, have basically have dealt with it before. We've discussed teaching children earlier in the month about tolerance and appreciating others and the differences in others. I mean, to open the show, we're going to possibly bring up a little bit about Kaz Anwar, if we've got time, because he was talking to us on the Peace Fund Celebrity Poker Tournament, which I'm going to have to invite you to next year. Do you play poker?
I'm terrible at it.
Oh! It's a lot of fun, though.
Or maybe that's just my poker game.
Yeah. Well, we actually also, I want to talk a little bit about, this issue is a very current topic at the moment, because this weekend in the news, we had a horrifying story from Fort Collins, Colorado, where two 11-year-olds in this community killed themselves last week after they were allegedly bullied. Their families and friends said, as of now, it's unclear whether the two deaths are linked. An 11-year-old boy who attended Blevins Middle School committed suicide late Saturday, just days after a girl at another middle school in the same school district died from self-inflicted injuries. The female victim was allegedly taunted by bullies who told her she should kill herself. Mourners actually launched a GoFundMe page to raise money for anti-bullying organisations such as Stomp Out Bullying, and urge parents to talk to their children about the dangers of bullying. I mean, that's just tragic. An 11-year-old child actually kills themselves. I mean, that's the top of the issue we've got, but it spans so many other different avenues. Mm-hmm. You said to me this morning when you first came in, we've all been bullied. So what's your story? I mean, why is this one of the topics that's really kind of close to you?
I mean, I don't necessarily have any specific stories that I think half of them we block out, or we just think we rationalize this but they're just kids and this is how life is growing up. But I mean, and I know that as an actor now and appearing the way that I do, or whatever the perception of my personality is nowadays, it wasn't always like that growing up. I mean, I was kind of a dweeby, geeky kid growing up, and I was picked on quite a bit. Just thinking
why were you picked on? I mean, that's the thing. Why? Because there's a lot of different reasons people get picked on.
I think I was a sensitive kid, kind of lost in my own imagination, and a bit of a loner, a bit of a floater. I just didn't really know where I belonged. I moved around a lot, so my my friends group was never really strong or solid, and I didn't have sort of like that clique or something that I could fall back on and friends to support me until a little bit later. And I always felt sort of out of place, didn't know where I belonged, and that made me an easy target.
And bullying comes in so many different ways. You're either too fat, you're too thin, you got a speech problem.
I mean, I was a real skinny kid.
Real skinny kid, right?
I look like a clothes hanger. And I mean, I played sports, and you know, thank God I really wasn't. I was never physically bullied. I wasn't like beat up or I didn't get into a lot of fights, but definitely verbally, you know, just kids being mean.
You know, when I was a kid, I you know, at the time, you know, there was my mother's Italian, so she used to cook with a lot of garlic. So I'd have garlic. So I'd be called names of stinky breath or spew this or spew that. You know, that's what Ethan's laughing. But you know, when you're like 10 years old or 7 years old,
who's got time for that?
Well, no, but kids do. That's the thing. Kids in school, they speak what's on their brain, and they start.
They have no filter.
No, there's no filter, but until, you know, even my kids now, you know, they'll do something. I'm like, that's not very nice. You can't say that. You know, you can't spit at somebody or blow your, you know, a raspberry at them or stick your tongue out or, you know, call them a name or any of that type of stuff. And it's the parents really that need to be schooled in how it hurts.
I will say this though, and this is going to be surprising, but depending on where I was actually made fun of a lot for my name.
Really?
Yeah.
What, Keanu?
Keahu.
Oh, Keahu.
And my last name actually, and I'd say there was a time in high school when I thought about changing it. I really wanted to change it. I wanted to change my name.
Because you wanted to fit in, right? I mean, that's the thing. You don't want to get bullied, picked on anymore.
Everybody wants to fit in, and then suddenly after high school, when you can sort of pick and choose who you spend your time with during the day, the things that make you different are the things that make you unique and special.
You know, I've got some facts here which I think people should hear about. It's estimated that 160,000 children miss school every day due to the fear of attack or intimidation by other students. 160,000. That's the National Education Association. Every day. 160,000 kids.
Wow.
And then a survey conducted by the American Association of University Women reported that 85% of girls and 76% of boys have been sexually harassed in some form, and only 18% of those incidents were perpetrated by an adult. So you imagine that's all your school friends and that sexually harassing somebody. Now, several reports claim that 60% of boys who were bullied from first grade through ninth grade were convicted of at least one crime by the age 24, and 40% and had 3 or more convictions by age 24. Today's bullies can be tomorrow's criminals. We've talked about that before here on the show. I know that when I was in school, when I got bullied, etc., I would try and lash back. That was just my character. I had an Italian temper, so I wanted to sort of... And I'd ended up in fights with it. And, you know, maybe at that point, then I would try and make myself heard a little bit. You know, I remember what I did one time. I took a compass. You know, you have a compass which has a little... And I threw it at this kid in front of me, and it stuck into his jacket. I was just, you know, bugging him. But that's bullying. I'm still bullying, you know, and so...
You bully people here around the studio. You've never really grown out of it.
See, this is really nice. This is what I get every time I come on this show. All right.
Well, it is what it is.
It is. This is nice. You know, what made you get involved in working with organizations or standing up for bullying? Because obviously everybody has...
It was more the personal identification with the cause, with having experienced it myself. I mean, I honestly, some of the God, I hate to say this, but some of the biggest bullying I experienced also was actually at home.
At home, really?
Yeah, and I mean, I won't go into specifics, but I definitely feel like, you know, bullying comes more. We talk more in the sense of bullying comes from our peers, at least at school, especially. But it starts somewhere, and I think for bullies, a lot of it happens at home.
So, what was the effect that it had on you, because there is an effect. I mean,
Yeah.
as I said, my effect was to lash out. Others have other issues they have to deal with.
Yeah, I think mine, I actually became very much more introverted. I sort of escaped to my imagination, and I think that's what lended itself to me becoming an artist. A lot of artists sort of pull back into themselves and lose themselves in their imagination to create a space that they can escape to, depending on how powerful your imagination is and the environments that you're allowed to or where you can physically escape to.
I think you said something really interesting, which I think being an artist, because a lot of the time artists, actors especially, utilize some of the pain they've had in their lives into their work. I mean, that's the substitution that we deal with. But others don't have that outlet, and I think that's problematic. So I actually think some of these ways to actually act out actually help you heal or close some of those wounds that you've had. Because, I mean, in reading here, some of the physical symptoms, kids have headaches, they have stomach aches, they have sleeping problems, and that means they'll lose self-confidence and they get low self-esteem and they won't say anything at school. So I think parents have to be very aware of what's going on in school with their kid.
Well, and it's hard, for me, you could often see my frustration or things that I was going through my art. I was always an artistic kid. I mean, I created left and right, and I didn't even recognize how much I used it as an outlet until later on. But a lot of people who don't have sort of an artistic inclination, I wouldn't know how to get that out, and that would make it. I think that's actually what saved me, is that I had these outlets that were sort of a tangible thing for me.
The thing is also it works on the other side of the fence as well. The bullies themselves also have issues that they have to deal with, because in looking here, it was funny because it actually states that
and they found that as an outlet, bullying.
They found it as an outlet. They get into frequent fights, they steal, they vandalize property, and actually, as I mentioned before, a lot of these students, a lot of these bullies that actually are like that, are more likely to become involved in vandalism or crime later on, which ends up in jail sentences because it just escalates, because the problem wasn't dealt with earlier on in life. And I think that's one of the things. It's not all of them do it, not all of them actually experience this, but they go through it. And I think there is a reaction to it, and it affects the people being bullied as well as bystanders, because what do you do? I mean, what do you do? I mean, Ethan, you actually at one point talked about your daughter seeing a bully, and we've talked about this before, but since we're on the subject again, what do you do? How do you address a situation when you see a kid being bullied?
Just like she did, actually, when she saw her friend being bullied.
Which was
She reported it. Yeah, she got in the middle of it.
Right.
It's much better than the way I handled it, if you remember that story, and we'll skip over it for the purposes of this conversation. Since we don't really want to revisit any possible civil or criminal charges.
Yes, but there are.
I think it's great though with the current environment. I mean, it's getting better in the sense of, because kids are more cognizant of what's going on,
yes, the awareness
that they're actually the ones who have maybe a more stable situation are reaching out to those who are being bullied or bullying to sort of correct the problem a little bit. I mean, I know personally, again, like I do have a couple instances where I was getting bullied either like on the playground or in a class, and someone random, some kid recognized what was going on and stopped the situation. Yeah. Just out of, I mean, they didn't really know.
But I think that's really cool, because you're saying that kids actually are more aware as well. But I mean, obviously, in some places, it's the teachers as well that have to be very aware of it, because if the kids see that the teachers and the adults are not stepping in to do it, it can have lasting damage.
And I mean, and that's where some of the problem comes is like, we're all human. We all sometimes we check out. It's teachers can't be. I mean, it is. I would say some of their social responsibility in their jobs to keep vigilant over what's going on in these environments with these kids. but at the same time, like, you're not going to pick up everything. And bullying can be subtle, or can be like sort of under the radar, or in the halls where the teachers aren't.
For those of you out there, did you know that every 50 states now have an anti-bullying law? But they've been it's a major problem over the past few years. But, however, without any oversight or technical assistance, many schools are not in compliance with their state laws, without the mechanism to actually ensure that schools and districts actually follow through with their obligations. These anti-bullying laws do essentially nothing to help prevent bullying. So sometimes some of the states have actually sought to overcome this limitation by expanding the scopes of their anti-bullying laws to not only require schools to have a policy, but criminalize bullying for those who engage in their behavior. So parents out there should be aware that there is an anti-bullying law out there, and some of the states actually have criminalized it. So be aware of that if you actually have a child that might be a little bit more aggressive than you actually are aware of, let's put it like this. And I think one of the things is communication.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to communicate. I mean, other kids communicate to other kids, parents communicate to kids, adults, teachers, etc. And I think this is why this dialogue is open now. We've had bullying on this show 3 or 4 times because it is an issue that affects so many other things. The domino effect, I call it, all the time. That domino effect affects their schools, their life, later on in life, unless you have an outlet like you had, which is... And I think acting is a very good one to do because it's addressing instead of going to a psychiatrist, you're allowing your own self to address the issues that you had as a child.
I mean, and I think, communication is a really extremely important thing. And not only one-way communication from parent to child, but also child to parent. I think a lot of times when a kid's caught doing something wrong, it's a one-way communication of don't do that,
right?
Versus why do you do that? What's the issue? What can you communicate back to me that can solve this problem, solve the cause of the problem as to why you're bullying?
I think that's a really good way of looking at it, and I think it's something my wife does a lot of the time. I'm like Ethan sometimes. I want to stop it, don't do it, that's it.
Yeah.
But the other issue is, why are you doing it? And even though it's tough, it takes sometimes for my kids,
a lot longer.
It's a lot longer of a process. Sometimes you don't have time to sit down and go, can you please tell me why you're doing what you're doing right now?
It's so important.
But it's important to spend that extra 5 minutes to change actually, I think it affects your life later on because you're going to be dealing with your child that will then have had this issue ingrained in them rather than you having addressed it for 5 or 10 minutes.
Or other people, your peers, or your colleagues who you expect, they can't go and turn to their colleagues when they're grown up and expect them to just understand, stop doing that, don't do that.
Right.
But
don't you think it's changed over the years? I mean, when I was growing up, there was, you got to do it this way, that's it, done. But there was no, let's talk to the child. I mean, that process has been only over the past 10, 15, 20 years that idea has come forth.
I mean, even my generation, I mean, I grew up with the do that because I said so, and that's it. Like, you're the adult and I'm the kid,
right?
And that's how it was.
But I think it's important. I don't know about in your house, but my parents actually were very good role models because they did teach me to values that I had to be respectful of my peers, to be responsible for my own actions.
Yeah.
But it does take time. I mean, obviously, we sometimes as parents don't have that time. Even today, we have so many more jobs we've got to go out and do, and I mean, it's a fact. 50 years ago, the woman didn't go out to work as much, so she could look after the kids and then address the issues that were coming up. Whereas today, both parents work, so your kids get thrown into school or daycare or whatever else, and left until the end of the day, and the mother comes home late from work, and Bang.
But on the other side of the coin, I also feel like fathers are more involved with their kids nowadays.
That is very true. That is very true.
I mean,
there is a balance. I mean, again, like anything, any new idea or whatever, there's a transitional period. And I think we're kind of in it now in that sense that we're so much more aware of issues because of shows like this one and the internet and things like that. We're aware of those issues and we're much more open to accepting new ideas.
Yeah.
And so, you're right, parents get involved more, although we don't have as much time, I think it's kind of the issue.
Well, there are also more places to go, I think, to find people who have similar interests. I mean, for instance, I joke sort of, but I say that the Comic-Con for me, for example, like the.
Have you been down there? It's a nutcase. It's
insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I say it's like me getting back in touch with my tribe. It's like my people. We gather there in San Diego every July. Almost all of my friends go, and it's an amazing thing.
They go down to Comic-Con, do they?
Yeah. But it's about finding other people who have geeky interests or other cosplayers or other artists or people who are interested in the same genres as you are.
Are you a cosplayer?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, what role? What character?
I have a few. I've designed my own, a couple of them, but
based on anything, or did you just put your imagination to work?
Loosely based on some other characters that I like, but I think the biggest one I've done so far has been Connor Kenway from Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, must know Kazan by then.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's bring John Beerley in on this conversation because we've got our hero of the week as well to talk about this morning. John, good morning.
Good morning, Adrian and Ethan and Keahu. Welcome to Peace Fund Radio. We're happy to have you on.
So John, who do you have? I know you have a young lady this morning that's actually dealt with bullying, and I'll let you go ahead and talk about it.
I do. Back on our January 28th show, we first told you about 17-year-old Valerie Weisler, the gal who puts the Val in the Validation Project, which she founded 4 years ago to help other young people turn their passions into positive action through mentoring, community service, and media. You can find it at thevalidationproject.com. Valerie first called in on our show on our February 4th episode to tell us how she turned her own experiences being bullied and eventually becoming a champion for other kids who had been bullied into an international army of volunteers and mentors. She's joining us today with some updates and new insights as she continues to protect, educate, and aid children everywhere in her own amazing way.
So, Ethan, I think we're going to call her this morning.
Yeah, you ready?
Is she calling? Yeah, let's go talk to this young lady this morning.
Try.
And as we are getting Valerie on the line, you can. I want to throw out some more of her information. You can follow her on Twitter at ValIsWiser, and you should because she's hilarious. Her Twitter is the hottest ticket in town for hilarity and great information for kids who are bullied.
Hello, good morning. This is fabulous, Valerie. Good morning. Is that you?
Valerie on the line. I want to throw out some more of her.
I think you have the you're listening. Hello, did she hang up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's again live radio this morning. Let's see if we can get hold of her again, Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
John, are you there?
I am. Yes.
Okay. We were hearing a feedback of what you were saying in her telephone as we were calling her. It was kind of interesting.
I did. Hang on tight just a second. I'm gonna drop off and try to get in touch with her. I'll be right back on.
So actually, out there. Just as a quick update, there are a couple of our organizations making a difference in bullying, as well as stompoutbullying.org. They're the leading national anti-bullying and cyberbullying organization for kids and teens in the U.S., who focus on reducing and preventing bullying, cyberbullying, sexting, and other digital abuse, educating against homophobia, racism, hatred, decreasing school absenteeism. So check them out at www.stompoutbullying.org, as well as makebeatsnotbeatdowns.org, who are dedicated to presenting alternative help to bullies and the bullied youth through all aspects of art, music, and education. Through partnering up with some of the most talented musicians, teachers, students, and parents nationwide, they're going to make sure bullying victims have a voice. So a couple of shout-outs there. Do we have her yet, Ethan?
No, I'm waiting for John. John signed off. I wonder if he's getting in touch to let her know that she should have her computer.
I am. Can we try her again, Ethan? Okay, she lost us there, but she says if we can call her again right back, she'll be there.
She's not the first person to hang up on us.
Well, I wouldn't say a thing.
She doesn't hold that distinction.
Well, let's see if we can actually get her again this time.
Hello?
Hello. Valerie, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hello, good morning. This is
good morning.
Adrian Paul from Peace on Radio. We have Keahu and we have Ethan on the line with you. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you guys?
We're very good.
You're great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Where are you?
I am in New York right now, so for me it's not morning, it's the end of the school day, which is just as exciting.
You recently attended the GLSEN Respect Awards. What is that event and where was it held?
Yeah, so it was the GLSEN Respect Awards, which is, GLSEN is an organization that works to create LGBT pride and acceptance in schools and communities all over, and that was in Los Angeles at the Beverly Wilshire. It was a red carpet event, and I got to go because I'm an ambassador for the organization, with a bunch of other teenagers. So I shared my coming out story. I got to talk with celebrities. It was really incredible.
So what celebrities did you meet?
I had dinner with Justin Timberlake and Julia Roberts, which I never thought I'd say. And Jim Parsons was also there. There were a lot of YouTubers there. It was just everywhere you looked, I was like, oh my God, I just saw you on my TV screen and now you're in front of me.
Valerie, did you tell Julia Roberts about me? And if you did, what did she say?
Of course I told her about you. I mean, it was the first thing that came out of my mouth.
Let's leave that out of there.
I don't know if we want to hear her opinion on the show. It might bring John down.
What did you learn from your experience at the awards? I mean,
I think the biggest thing I learned was that more people are supporting you than you really think, because I was sharing my story of coming out, which I never thought I would share. And I was in a room full of people that I had admired for such a long time, but had never thought that they would be listening to what my story was. So I think that's the thing that I really took away from it, was that you really have this whole team behind your back. You just have to open up and speak up.
Well, you created the Validation Project, and tell us why. I mean, you can tell us now on live. Tell us your story.
Right. Well, I was bullied for being shy, and I was really, really shy, and a group of girls interrogated me for that. And I wanted to create a space where not only would kids be accepted, but they would be given the resources and the support to go make their skills into something that can help other people. And now it's really incredible because it's turned into an international organization, and kids all over the world in 100 countries can wake up each day and be able to do what they love to do.
So you have the Validation Project on Facebook, and tell us a little bit about the Validation Project and how it works.
So teenagers come to us with their skills and their struggles, and they could come to us saying that they're a teenager in Uganda and they don't have a home but they love to dance, or that they're a teenager in Oklahoma and they love to play baseball. And we take that information and we give them a mentor who works with them for 2 months and is really the person that they want to be when they grow up. It might be an NFL football player, Major League Baseball player, a famous choreographer. And they get to learn not only how to improve their skill with that person, but also how to put their identity into that. And then they're assigned a community service activity they have to do using their skill. So if they like to cook and they just worked with a famous chef, they're sent to a soup kitchen. If they want to be a teacher and they just worked with the person who runs Teach for America, they're sent to a poverty-ridden town in their city. So it's really about taking the skills that they have inside themselves, first of all validating their self-worth, which is so important when we're a teenager, and then taking their skills and their validation and bringing it into other people's lives.
Wow, how do I go back in time and be a part of this program?
Well, you can still do it. You can be a mentor, or you can partner with us on a campaign. There's no age limit.
I think I might do
that was Keahu there talking about that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, one of my biggest things growing up was like where, I look back and I think of all the potential that I had, all the little things that I was doing, and I'm like, no one recognized it. Like, I was sitting in my little corner doing these little artsy projects and nothing.
Yeah.
No one.
We should do that. We should do that here on the radio. We could mentor somebody.
Yeah, we could try to do men. Yeah, well, let's talk about that after.
So,
that's a good idea.
So, Valerie, I had a follow-up question. As how do you balance running an international organization and being a high school student? Because
it definitely wasn't easy in the beginning. I definitely had to learn how to time manage, because obviously when you have the choice of doing your math homework or chatting with someone in a different country, it's like, okay, I'll definitely pick the second one. But I had to tell myself really that it was okay if it didn't get done today, because I've been dealing with the Validation Project, I'm really dealing with very crisis issues sometimes. You know, it might be a gay teenager in Uganda or a girl in Peru who's being told that she can't go to college. Like, these kids are incredible, like you said, but no one's really noticing it. So I've had to teach myself that it's okay if it doesn't get done today, and that sometimes being a teenager is more important than being a CEO.
Yeah. How many volunteers do you have helping you out?
We have 6,000 teenagers that, after they go through our mentoring and service program, now work for us. And then we also have 3,000 mentors, hopefully 3,001 once you join. And then in addition to that, we have country representatives, and those are all teenagers. And they represent either their state or their country to recruit people for the validation project.
How many countries?
We have 100 countries.
100 countries. Awesome. Great. And how long ago did you start the validation project?
I started it in January of 2013, so soon we'll be approaching our 3-year anniversary, which is so crazy.
And in that amount of time, you were able to garner that amount of support. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
It also shows the huge need for it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think one of the reasons that we've gained such intense press and so many people in such a short amount of time is really because there was nothing there. When I started it, I didn't start it because I wanted to start an organization. I started it because I needed validation, and there was no place for me to go.
So, what are some of the recent projects and your chapters that you are promoting here in the United States?
Right. Well, we have a lot of chapters here in the U.S., and some of the big campaigns that we're doing right now, we have a group in New York that is fundraising to be able to support kids who otherwise wouldn't be able to pay to take the ACT or the SAT, which obviously leads to them either not going to college or not getting into a good college. So they're doing that right now, and so far they've supported almost 30 kids in a matter of a month to be able to take that test, which is really incredible. And then all of our chapters right now are also partnering with local family shelters and doing toy drives so that kids can have toys this holiday season. And in addition to that, we are also doing a social media campaign about mental health, which is the first time that we're doing a campaign about mental health. And we're really asking teenagers and everyone to raise awareness of the fact that it's not something to be ashamed of, and it's something that we need to speak up about to let people know that we see them, they're not invisible.
You know, I think it's really important because this runs into Education Month next year, because educating people on subject matters that they might not necessarily or not know about or take for granted. And I think what you're doing is educating people on the issues that kids have. What do you think is the biggest issue that faces every kid?
I think the biggest issue, no matter where you live or who you are, what kind of family you have, is really that we're trained not to be different. You grow up and you walk into almost any school, any home, the mom or the dad or the teacher isn't encouraging the kid to think out of the box or to be creative. So we grow up thinking that if we discover something about ourselves that is creative, like we are scribbling artsy stuff at the kitchen table, that's a bad thing, and we need to shut that down. And that's really what the Validation Project tries to stop, is to tap people on the shoulder and say, hey, if you like to do this thing and it's out of the box, please speak up about it, join us, and make it your passion.
Yeah, no, God, that resonates with me so much, because I mean, half of it is, parents just don't have time. And
we talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, so it's like you just, fitting into a box is the easiest thing to just get by every day sometimes, because you're barely paying bills and barely, taking care of yourself, let alone your kids and your family.
Right. So what do you think are some of the most common things you hear about that kids are being, from kids that are being bullied? I
think the biggest things that I've heard about is really that a kid is getting bullied about something that they can't control, whether it's that they're, quote unquote, too skinny, too fat, they're gay, they're bi, they're transgender, they're a different race, they're the only Jewish kid in their class, they're the only Christian kid in their class. It's really about being a minority, or that no one else is speaking up about what they are. And that's one of the biggest things we get about, is just that these kids are saying, I'm the only blank. They don't have a support system.
Well, we've got Thanksgiving tomorrow. What are you thankful for this year?
I'm thankful for so many things, but I think the biggest thing is really just that I can wake up in the morning and I get to do what I love to do every single day.
Well, Valerie, thank you so much for doing it. Thank you for joining us this morning on the show. I think you're going to do great things, and you're very eloquent, which I love.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But please keep doing it. I'm sure we'll hear more about you, and we'll keep in contact with some of the stuff that the Peace Fund has going on.
Definitely. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for doing this every day also.
Thank you, Valerie. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
See, I love our Heroes of the Week because every week we find something
She's
about...
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, but all of them are. This is what's great.
Yeah.
Oh, she's incredible. Yeah, Valerie is... she's such a special girl. She's so great. She recently attended the International Day of the Girl Summit at the United Nations in New York. She had 2 events that she attended in Washington, D.C., one of them at the White House. And again, please go to thevalidationproject.com and follow the link there to her Facebook page where you can see her information about some of these events that she's attended. And you can also watch a video of her recent appearance on the Meredith Vieira Show, where she reached a great audience with her story and her message, and we're just really, really proud of Valerie and very grateful that she was able to be on the show today. She does so much. Like I said, she's coordinating 100 countries worth of volunteers and projects here in the United States, projects overseas, and for her to come on the show today really means a lot. I know she's busy, so thank you so much, Valerie.
I don't know how she does it, to be honest. I mean, she's got...
Well, she just does. It's like with all of our Heroes of the Week. How do they do it? They just
juggle
do.
school and doing, you're dealing with a program of 6,000 volunteers. I mean, that's kind of awesome. But what I really love, and this is the thing, this is why I want to empower kids. That's why I'm hoping to have on our new website and a new Peace Fund structure an advisory board by some of these kid members, so that we know how to deal with the kids, what they need the most. From the years ago when we actually dealt with a child should be seen and not heard, is totally out the window these days, because children they don't have no. We don't know what no means when we're a child. If somebody says, I'm going to jump off and fly a plane, you go, you can't do that. But a kid goes, why not? I mean, they don't know they can't do it. So that's why you've got to support them when they have some of these ideas. And I think that's what Valerie's been able to do. She was supported, and she went out and did something that was very close to her.
Yeah. And
I think all power to our Heroes of the Week and to the kids out there that are definitely needing that. We've only got 3 minutes left on the show. John, do you have any other updates before we have to sort of wind it down?
I do, as always. If you're curious about what's going on at the Peace Fund, if you want to figure out ways you can contribute to the Peace Fund, contribute to the show, thepeacefund.org. And as Adrian said, we'll have a new website up very soon. I know that just last week, the city of Los Angeles declared a shelter emergency for its 26,000 homeless people. And I know that someone who's working very hard to help the homeless population is our very own Ethan Dettenmaier with his Christmas event. We talked about that earlier in the show, coming right around the corner on December 5th. Go to gofundme.com/acombatradiofxmas5. And follow Ethan on Twitter at Combat Radio to find out ways you can support the event, including auctions of awesome items like an autographed Star Wars Rebels helmet that looks amazing. And, of course, follow Adrian at AdrianPaul1. And Keahu, what's your Twitter?
Keahu Kahuanui. It's my name, so Keahu Kahuanui.
I already hashtagged or at gave you that symbol this morning. I did a quick tweet this morning. Yeah, it was about half an hour ago. Yeah, I spelt it right. Yeah, I can't say it, but I spelt it. But it's interesting. Last night, while I was driving home on the west side of Los Angeles, and right by Wilshire, there were all these homeless people underneath the on the side of the freeway.
It's prime real estate down there.
I'm sitting there going, wow, we're here in one of the most affluent parts of Los Angeles, and there are people living in boxes.
No, it's
terrible. It's awful. I mean, this city it looks like on the face, it looks like it's affluent and things are great and we drive nice cars, but right next to us are people living on the street. And I know you've got the event. Again, I'm going to tout your event because I think it's a great idea for the homeless kids you have coming up.
Yes, December 5th is our 5th annual Christmas event, Combat Radio Christmas event for social services and homeless children. We're servicing about 5 different shelters, but we will have some of the cast of the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, doing a live broadcast with us, as well as some of the cast members from Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Force Awakens, all kinds of surprises. We'll also have a battery of not only a live broadcast, but Santa will arrive with presents for the kids, and it's brunch, all at Salt Creek Grill in Valencia. Silent Auction supports the cause, and you'll get an opportunity to actually rock. We're doing 2 broadcasts this weekend in prep of it as a toy drive, and we'll have, leading up to the 5th, a lot of stormtroopers and characters involved to help motivate people to get involved with this cause. So hopefully we'll see everyone this weekend.
Keahu, what do you have coming up? I mean, what's your next project?
I've got a short film coming up. I've been waiting on 2 films to get their production going.
Trust me, I know all about that. I'm about to direct something this year. It's all about the funding.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. I know you came in at last minute.
It's awesome. You caught me at a good time.
I got lucky.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Colin for actually talking about you because he's awesome. I think.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he does a great job. Listen, for those of you out there, the effects of bullying. If you're a parent or somebody else, you've got to actually talk and educate children, communicate with the children, with your friends, raise people to be respectful and helpful, and teach your kids how to respond with bullying. It doesn't mean smack them back. It means talk to the parents, talk to the teachers, and talk and educate people about it.
And just try and get them to be aware. I mean, just being aware of what's going on and how your actions affect other people, whether positively or negatively, is so important.
Well, that's about as much time as we got this morning. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for all the Peace Fund volunteers out there. We will be bringing you more information next week about our Surface giveaway in the month of December, as well as our program that's going to be coming up in January for the LAUSD schools, hopefully, or schools in the Los Angeles area, that we will be able to donate these surfaces to. I'm going to finish today with a quote from Oprah Winfrey. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. This is Adrian Paul and Ethan Dettenmaier. We'll talk to you again.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.